Today we're going to start an earthquake and volcano project. Since we just got done with plate tectonics, it kind of is a good segue to go into, since plates and earthquakes and volcanoes are related. So you're going to receive a little packet that looks like this, and the first thing you're going to do is you are going to write your hypothesis. So I started it for you. So you're going to use the if, then, because format. So I began it for you. If earthquakes and volcanoes happen, then they happen blank because. So you're going to fill that in. Do that right now. So you're going to need some materials, a globe or a world map, which I'm going to give you, internet or reference material, which I'll give you, as well as colored pencils. So it says you're going to plot the earthquakes and volcanoes that I have given you on your map. Then you're going to find at least 5 additional volcanoes and 5 additional earthquakes that occurred outside the United States, using the reference material provided by your teacher, and list them below. After you record your data points on the map, determine the plates that were involved and plot them on a map by numbering each earthquake or volcano according to your data table. So on your map, you're going to create a key. So shallow earthquakes will be red, 0 to 70 kilometers. Intermediate earthquakes will be blue, 70 to 300 kilometers. And deep earthquakes will be green, 300 to 650 kilometers. And you're going to use a triangle for a volcano. You're also going to look at your plate boundary map and trace the boundaries with the following key. So convergent will be orange, divergent green, and transform blue. So I will have these around the room so that you can in fact use them before you even get started. Okay, so right now what I'd like you to do is create a key that includes the information about the earthquakes and volcanoes as well as the plate boundary colors. So do that right now. So if I were you, I would put your key up here at the top. Just label it key. And then we've got shallow earthquakes are red, so I'm just going to use my red and write shallow. Intermediate earthquakes are blue. And deep ones are green. And then also you're going to have your information about the plate boundaries. So orange is convergent. Divergent is green. And transform is blue. So now you have your key all set. So now we are going to start our plotting. So before you plot, what I'd like you to do is I would like you to color find one of these that are posted around the room and color in your plate boundaries. Now you may want to do it kind of light so that you can see your pencil marks, but do that first. So I'm going to show you how to plot so that you have the information that you need. So I've given you a data table that has some information about earthquakes and volcanoes. You are going to plot these on your map. I've done all of the work for you except plotting it. Okay? So what I want to point out is when we do mapping, for latitude, when they're talking about south, they use a negative sign. So basically, anything under the equator would be negative. And then for longitude, for west, they use a negative sign. So anything left of the prime meridian would be negative. So let's do the first one together. Now pretend that I already have my plates colored in. So our first area is Alaska. And Alaska is north 63 and west 151. So since this is positive, that means it's north, and it's going to be north of the equator. So 63, if you look at our latitude lines, would be about right here. So a little bit north of 60 degrees. And then our longitude is west, so we know it's going to be left of the prime meridian. So ours is negative 151. So I find 63 and 151. Now notice that for longitude, the lines curve. So you're going to have to follow it down with your pencil. So it's about right here. So when I look, the depth is 492. So that is a deep volcano. So I'm going to make that green. And I'm going to mark it number 1 because that is the first earthquake that we're going to do. Now for the second one, it's located in Turkey. Now Turkey is a continent, so when we plot it, it should be on land. If we plot it in the water or on an island, it would be in the ocean. So Turkey is a continent, it's an earthquake, it's 40 for the latitude, so that means it's north of the equator, and it's 32 for longitude, meaning it's on the right side of our map, or the east side. So we're going to find 40 north, so it's going to be a little bit south of 45. And then it's 32 degrees east, so we know it's going to be on the right side of the prime meridian. So I'm going to take my pencil and find 32. So it's about right here. The depth of this earthquake is 364. So we're going to make it green, and we're going to mark it number 2. Now if you noticed, I filled in the information like the plates involved. So for our earthquake in Alaska, it's the North American plate, which is this whole area right here, as well as the Pacific plate, which is this whole area here. So it's right basically on the border. For Turkey, you can see it's in the Eurasian plate, right on the border of the African plate. So it's very, very, very close to a plate boundary. So you're going to do that with the rest of these earthquakes and volcanoes. And then you're going to grab one of the packets that I have about the latest earthquakes that have happened, and you're going to choose 5 that you're going to place on your data table and plot on your map. Then when you're done with that, you're going to choose 5 out of the volcano packet, write in your data, and then plot those on your map. So besides the ones I have given you, you're going to choose 5 additional earthquakes and 5 additional volcanoes. And these can be any volcanoes or earthquakes as long as they're outside the United States. So once you have all of these plotted, you are going to answer the questions that are in your packet. So notice that I have it in the format of claim and evidence. So you're going to answer the question and then back it up with evidence. That means you're going to use specific data or specific evidence from the volcanoes or earthquakes. So I'm looking for names and numbers in the evidence parts. So you're going to work on that. Then you're going to write an ABC paragraph for your conclusion. And then lastly, you're going to do some research. So for your research, you're going to research the effect that earthquakes and volcanoes have on each one of Earth's spheres. So we have the atmosphere, which includes the air, the hydrosphere, which is bodies of water, the geosphere, which is land, and then the biosphere, which is living organisms. So you're going to have at least 2 effects for each one of the spheres for volcanoes and 2 effects for each one of the spheres about earthquakes. And I have some research packets that you can use for that. These don't need to be into complete sentences. You can simply use bullets. This is going to take us probably 3 to 4 days to finish up. Please keep all your information together and make sure that you are on task, because otherwise you will be using these days unwisely and end up having to take this home for homework. This is a huge project, so it's going to be worth a lot of points. Good luck, and if you have any questions, please come see me.